The New York Jets add two veteran linebackers, three guys on the roster bubble that I think are going to make the team if I had to guess right now. And it's time to talk about the thing with Elijah Vera Tucker. You know what that thing is. And if you get any value out of the video, a thumbs up is an easy way to show it. So, welcome to the New York Jets, Nick Vigil and Sam Aguavin. Nick Vigil, 29 years old, 6'2", 240 pounds. 53 career starts, four of them coming last year for Arizona, 12 of them the year before with Minnesota. Haven't watched him play, but the analytics and just for where he's at in free agency scream depth player / camp body. Aguavin, 30 years old, 6'1", 235 pounds, seven career starts, former Miami Dolphin, developed himself into a core special teamer in Miami. They did not re-sign him after his initial contract expired. So obviously, two guys in, some corresponding moves have to be made. I think this means that the injuries to either Chaz Surratt, Hamza Najaldeen, or both are more significant than we were led to believe. They both left the game, the preseason game on Thursday, and they were not at practice on Saturday. So I'm sure we'll get an update on some corresponding moves within the next 24 hours. Kind of a bummer that happened just after Quan Alexander signed, because if we're going to be bringing in 30-year-old linebackers, I'd rather it be Quan than these two guys, with all due respect, but we'll see how it all shakes out. Now, let's get to these three guys. First, on the bubble, Zach Kuntz. Yeah, he's on the bubble. He's a draft pick. He's got a head start. 1 through 5, you're a lock. 6th-round pick, you're probably in unless you're a disaster. 7th-round pick, you're pretty much on similar footing with priority free agents who get big signing bonuses. For example, the Jets gave EJ Jenkins just as big of a guaranteed money up front that they did for Zach Kuntz. So thought maybe he would be on the practice squad when they first drafted him. I didn't really see anything he could do to contribute to an NFL team right away. Pretty raw all over, although very athletic. But I got to say, hey, it's one preseason game, but when you're talking about guys where it's hard to dig up any tape on them, you'll take what you can get against NFL competition of any level. And I was really impressed. Now, only one catch for 6 yards. All right. But as a blocker, I saw 4 or 5 really good blocks. I saw a wham block when he came across, was lined up as an H-back. I saw him in max protect, keep Zach Wilson clean. Wasn't pretty, but he was one-on-one against an end and put the guy on the ground. I saw him chip and release, just moving so smooth and fluidly on special teams, which that's where he's going to have to make his mark if you're going to be tight end 4. He had a nice block that helped spring Erickson on that punt return, and just galloping like a gazelle on punt coverage, joining in on another gang tackle. They had him out there on a field goal block. Why not? You have a guy with a 6'10" wingspan, put him on field goal block. So kudos to Kuntz. Kudos to Jets tight end coach Ron Middleton. Hit it. He's coming in with more of a skill set than I thought. Really impressed by Kuntz, and hopefully he makes the team. I think there are some teams that could roster him and just stick him on the pine and redshirt him, teams that aren't as deep. I like this kid's potential, man. I hope he makes the team, and I've had to guess right now. I think he does. Next, Javelin Guidry, corner. He was here before. I think he'll be on the New York Jets again, and he doesn't do anything great, but he does 3 things pretty well. He can be an emergency nickel corner, a backup. Who's the backup nickel corner right now if Michael Carter II goes down? Last year, probably would have been Tony Adams in a pinch because he did it at college at Illinois. But if Tony Adams is your starting free safety, which looks like he is, that probably takes him out of the equation of being your backup slot corner. So Guidry could be a backup slot corner, a backup boundary corner. He did both in the Hall of Fame game. Also got work as a gunner in the Hall of Fame game. He was a gunner when he was here before. So you're telling me for $1 million vet minimum, he can be corner 5, play inside, play outside, be your gunner. I think that's money well spent. And at this point, with Bryce Hall making $3 million, I'm not even sure Bryce Hall is a better corner than Javelin Guidry at this point, and he doesn't have the versatility, and he's not as valuable on special teams. So if I had to guess right now, Bryce Hall is out and Javelin Guidry is in. Finally, the least popular one, the Jason Brownlee hype. I'm here for it. I hope this kid makes the team. I do. But if I had to guess right now, not what my preference is, but what my prediction is right now, Malik Taylor, I think, is the favorite for that spot. He's familiar with Nathaniel Hackett, 2 years with Hackett and Rodgers in Green Bay. Not a lot of receiving production, hardly any to speak of, but was a core special teamer there. And you see that some of the traits, right? 6'1, 210, 4 speed. You saw on the go ball from Zach Wilson. He's quietly had a really impressive camp, getting some reps with the first team offense the last two practices. And I think it's going to be kind of like Calvin Jackson Jr. versus Jeff Smith last year, where Calvin Jackson Jr. he has the hype, he's new, he's undrafted, and then we end up going with Jeff Smith. So I think Malik Taylor might be Nate Hackett's version of Jeff Smith. Brownlee would be more exciting because Taylor kind of is what he is at going on 28 years old, where Brownlee, there's that hope that he could develop into one of your top four receivers. If he kills it the next two preseason games and I make my final prediction, I hope to change my mind by then. But right now, I think that's probably the direction we go. And then the practice squad is chock full of Jason Brownlee and Irv Charles and Xavier Gibson, a bunch of developmental wide receivers. Now, finally, the thing with Elijah Vera Tucker. Yeah, I see the comments all the time, right? Whenever I talk about Jets offensive line, AVT to right tackle, AVT to right tackle. And look, the Jets want him to stay at guard. And I think if if all things were equal and Jets already had two good tackles, guard is his best position, right? But I'm looking at this Jets offensive line, and not just because of one preseason game. It's just the way I felt about it for months since we didn't really make a significant investment at tackle. Um, I would be I'm betting that Elijah Vera Tucker is going to play tackle at some point this year anyway. I just think that's where this is trending. And if that's going to happen, I'd rather be proactive and put him there now, get him the reps now, and let's figure this out instead of doing a musical chairs dance around the bye week. And I was listening to the Badlands podcast, Joe Caporoso, Connor Rogers, and Connor put it so perfectly when talking about this Jets offensive line. He said, hope is not a plan. And let's be honest, the plan at offensive line right now is we're crossing our fingers. That's the plan, right? Try to convince me that this offensive line is going to be Super Bowl worthy without saying, if this, maybe that, the stars align here, this guy bounce back, this guy break out, this guy stays healthy who hasn't played. That's not a plan. That's hope. And I think that this staff has done such a damn good job at hope not being the plan pretty much everywhere else. We're not going to hope that Denzel Mims can figure it out or Elijah Moore can break out and be a number one wide receiver. We're going to go get a certified stud with the 10th overall pick. We're not going to hope that Bryce Hall can be good enough. We're going to bring in Sauce. We're going to sign DJ Reed. We're going to pay what it takes to retain Quinnen Williams as one of the top players at his position. Michael Carter is good. Breece Hall is better. We're not going to move on from CJ Mosley and hope that Jamie and Sherwood could be the Mike linebacker. We're going to keep CJ and pay him. We're going to overinvest at edge rusher. We're going to spend some money on some nice complementary weapons in free agency and Lazard and Hardman. And obviously the microcosm of this is Aaron Rodgers. We're not going to hope that some new coordinator can fix Zach Wilson. Hope that Mike White has a Kurt Warner like career arc and feel good story. Hope that Derek Carr, after not winning a playoff game for a decade in Oakland and Vegas, is going to come here, get a new haircut and a better defense, and he's going to win a Super Bowl. That's what the kids call copium, and they've done a really good job. Everywhere else, roster chock full of legitimate stars and real plans and real solutions. The solution with our pass rush is we have 8 dudes who can get after it. The solution to our cornerback room is we have 3 great corners. The solution to our wide receiver room is we have Garrett Wilson and a bunch of varied, nice professional skill sets around him. The plan at offensive line is this. Fingers crossed. And that ain't a plan. And I think Dalton Reisner should be that plan. And AVT to right tackle. Because we already have one massive question mark in just Lakin. Just Lakin himself. Oh, Lakin needs to bounce back. Boom. Massive question mark. A guy who was a bottom 10 percentile starting guard last year, where he's going to just bounce back to Pro Bowl form. I'm hopeful that could happen, but that's already one question mark. You only should enter the season with one on your offensive line. That's one too many right there. Next to him, Dwayne Brown. These are the two most entrenched guys, Dwayne Brown and Lakin. Dwayne Brown, he's almost as old as Rodgers, coming off surgery, and he was passable last year. Now, that's the left side of your offensive line. Those are both question marks. Center, it's probably going to be McGovern. Hopefully, he can, again, bounce back. That's another word we keep using. Oh, he'll have AVT next to him the whole time. Every position, we're trying to talk ourselves into it, besides pretty much AVT. And I think Tippmann, eventually, he'll be a blue chipper as well. Love the pick. And Turner and Max Mitchell, that ain't it. I'm sorry. We can wax poetic about these guys. Robert Saleh can formally adopt Max Mitchell as his 8th child on the podium. But if we were facing another team and they were rolling out Billy Turner or Max Mitchell at either tackle spot, we would be licking our chops. Fact. And as are Micah Parsons, Matt Judon, and Von Miller, who we face in about a month. And with Becton, it's like, oh, there's time. There's time for what? This is so frustrating with Becton, man. It has all the makings of a great comeback story. It really does. And I'm rooting for that. And that's fine if he pulled himself out of the game if he was really feeling an injury. But did you hear what he said after the game? This is the new normal. And I can't play this spot because it'll blow my knee out. And on this kind of turf, it'll blow my knee out. But we're going to go from that. It's like the movie Gremlins. Like, oh, if I'm up past midnight or if I get wet, we're going to go from that to him playing 17 games plus the postseason run in all kinds of weather and different conditions and turfs all across the NFL. That is the stuff of pure imagination. I'm sorry. It is. It's not a plan. And you can only yammer on so much without giving a solution. But again, Dalton Risner, the best offensive lineman that could still be had on the market for money. No good tackles on the market to speak of. Dalton Risner is an above average to above average starting guard in this league. The last 4 years had 14 plus starts in Denver. So he's got familiarity with Hackett. Beautiful. And now you plug him in, AVT to right tackle, and you're good on that side. And now Becton's your pure backup left tackle. Mitchell, your pure right tackle. Billy Turner is kind of your duct tape wherever you need him because he has guard tackle flexibility. You have a 3-man competition at center. Now, just that one investment kind of shifts everything into place a lot more neatly, especially at bookends, man. And if they're going to take that $6 million or whatever it is they have offered to Dalvin Cook, I would pull that from Dalvin Cook and give it to an offensive lineman in a second. It's not even close to me. And you can't be perfect everywhere. If you want to, we're going to roll with Sherwood instead of Quan, fine. We're going to roll with Tony Adams and give him a chance and not make a big investment at safety, fine. We're not going to sign Teddy Bridgewater. We're going to hope that Zach can improve and be a passable backup, fine. Don't sign Dalvin Cook, roll with fine. I can't have the hope be the plan at tackle. Can't do it. And we're setting Max Mitchell up here. We really are. And I prefer not to do that. Dalton Risner, man, take that money that you have offered to Dalvin Cook and give it to an offensive lineman. It's a much better investment, in my opinion. Just my 2 cents. Thanks for hanging out. We'll talk ball soon.